It's windy, so it's gonna be hard to hear, so I'm gonna try to do it like this. But the middle class, or the wealthier, or the Republicans, or the Christians, the people who have enough money but still live in fear or whatever, the people that I came from, the snooty people, like where I was raised, those people. I don't know how to explain it, but I think I just saw something that I want to capture. They are very productive in their own community. So in their minds, everything that they're saying, they do, right? So they take care of each other in that community, where they could look like a softball coach paying for a pair of cleats for one of their daughters because their parent just got laid off. But you know what I mean? There is a status that you have to kind of retain to be in that community. Like for example, there's Christianity. That's a big status to maintain, to be in some of these communities, because if you're not, then you're the devil. That's what they think. So they're doing it out of a good heart to protect one another, but it's off of an illusion of fear that doesn't exist. So they coddle each other. So when Trump comes along and talks about this wall, they're all for it, because that is just a physical representation of what they're doing already within the communities of America. That's why they don't understand racism, or the fact that there is a lot of division coming from the political parties, because the way they see it is only the reality that they've all protected each other in. So it's a culture within a culture. And they consider, if they were to ever stretch outside of their walls, they would consider that charity or ministry. And that's where they believe they're doing the right thing for Jesus. So every little thing is already taken care of in their mind. They've created in their mind a cage that protects them. And it makes them feel like they're good people. And then the people outside that cage are the evil ones. And the fact that they have that in their mind keeps them going and convinced that what they're doing is right, because they have to continually do good in order to protect the good inside of their cage from the evil that's outside of their cage. But my question would be, what if the cage that you built is not dividing evil, but it's actually multiplying it? Because now humanity is stopped because you've built a wall around your fellow human through misunderstanding and fear. So you see, not everybody here is having a bad heart or doing it for dishonest gain. It is a deception because of all of the surrounding noise, so to speak, and different views that have progressed from experience, religion, what you're taught in school, all that. And it's created these tangled, I like to think of them as like tangled knots of deception. So you have to kind of carefully untie them. And I think that's just one thing I wanted to capture. So, damn it, I was going there, but I had to cross the street. This woman didn't. People when they drive, they think they're being considerate to yield to you, but it's actually breaking the rules of the road. So it disrupts and it makes it awkward. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. They would think in their heart they're doing right, but really, because we're afraid of hurting each other's feelings, we're not producing the type of accountability that naturally humans have for one another, and we have it intuitively, and we know how to kind of keep people in check without being disrespectful. But we're so afraid of hurting other people's feelings that we don't engage in that aspect of our own humanity. Do you see how this is disrupting us from getting closer to each other? So those are the two conflicts of philosophy going on in the world today, which is interesting because I feel like I'm aware of it. I'm aware of history being made right in front of me, and that's why I've jumped into it, because it's a socialist movement, not socialist in a form of government, but social. It's a social cultural thing where all humans are connected. So it's civilization. This is a humanitarian shift in this history of time, and I can see it unfolding while it's happening, which is interesting. So I want to help both sides bridge the gap, because I can see both sides. I'm willing to look at both sides without criticism or judgment. And then I think there's a middle ground, which is where our bread and butter is. That's where our advancements are going to be made. So remember the Titans, and instead of it being a racial issue, make it anything that's divisive, and then see that it wasn't the problem between people, because they eventually came together, and then they won the state championship, and that's a championship. So there's a victory all over that. Still under 5 minutes. Much love.